Hi, Victor.
Hey there.
Happy New Year.
No.
Here. Let me see if I can switch the display for whatever reason.
Hi, Sam. Good to see you, Damian.
Hi guys, how are you?
Why is it display there? Okay.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Hey, Larry, how are you?
I'm good.
Well, let me see because today I wanted to test something in YouTube. Let me see. I wanted to test the event capabilities. Let me see. But yeah, you can go ahead. I'm going to see if we can stream this on LinkedIn or not, maybe for the next time, but I'm going to try it out. Yeah, so in the meantime, if you have anything, any topics you want to discuss about while I am setting this up.
I want to understand how I can, be more suitable for FinOps analyst roles, what skills I need to develop, and how should I shape up my resume. That's something I would like to listen from you, Victor, Damian, Islam, Jose.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it's something that it's pretty good. And I mean, from previous discussions, I guess with Isam as well, we discussed about this topic, which is like now mainly I would say focus is a thing that you should learn for being
Yeah.
an analyst. Like it's probably going to be one of the trends
Mm-hmm.
in 2025, especially. So
Right.
that's where I would start. Damian, do you have any suggestions? I can go ranting, but
um,
Hello, everybody. I think
hey,
Hi.
I'm having the same issue with Nat because in fact I was supposed to do this the FinOps focus analyst exam today. But one thing I found out about this exam is that you may pass the exam and don't even have the hands-on experience. So which may make it difficult for one to be suitable for any job post. I see the need for one to have maybe a kind of mentorship. In short, it's difficult for a new person to break into the focus analyst role.
yeah, it's we see that there's a lot of hands-on uh, that is missing. We are planning on trying to help newcomers with that. So stay tuned. Like we say, stay tuned. You will see some things soon because indeed we see that there is a problem that many people are talking about. Okay, so I did all these courses from from the FinOps Foundation or whatever, but how do we practice or we do so? It's something that we want to approach. But if I go a step back and I think about
Mm-hmm.
what if FinOps, right? FinOps leader, a FinOps practitioner. I think I separate this. Sorry, something flying here bugging me. I see it in two main things, and this is something that many discuss. I see it in many places. What do I need? Which skills do I need? Do I need to be more technical? So for me, the way that I see it, and I've been advising different companies, I see that first of all you need soft skills if you want to be right this role, because eventually, even though the companies want you save me money, reduce costs. It's all about reducing costs. But if you think about it, yes, you can start with quick wins and reducing 20%, 30%, but then it stops, right? And what do you need to do? And what you need to do is connect all the people, right? Implement the culture, because you want to have your company or whatever you are implementing these FinOps practices. You need to ensure that everybody is engaged, right? You have the development team, you have the product team, you have the finance, and that doesn't require any technical skills, right? So I would work on both. So program project management, right? And soft skills, and of course technical skills, because yes, you have the analyst parts, but you also, which is a very good point to start, because you need to know, and it's expected for you to know all this basic or this baseline, right? Where it is focus or other standard, but also knowing the services that you're supporting, because there may be a small feature in this service that can duplicate the cost. Just to give you an example, when you do RDS multi AZ in AWS, you're duplicating the cost. Do we really need it in a dev environment? But if you're not familiar with the service, you will never get into it. So, so I kind of like would separate it into two or three. In the technical, you have two options. You have like the basics, which is the focus, or any other, and the technical from each service you're supporting. Well, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So I wanted to share my recent experience.
Mhm.
So a couple of days back, I think sometime in Tuesday, I got an email on LinkedIn, a message on LinkedIn from a recruiter, and they're looking for a senior FinOps analyst role. And when I look at and that recruiter, perhaps they recruit for many skills, so they don't really know what exactly are the hard skills or soft skills. So they just match keywords, right? And he reached out. He said, "Okay, I think your profile looks good." For everyone's benefit, I will just introduce. My name is Anshuman. I'm based in India. I work for Rackspace as a cloud solution architect. About 14 years of experience now across on-prem data center and cloud. So majority on Azure, somewhat on AWS. So that job description, when he shared me that job description, it says that they prefer someone with a cloud architecture experience. I said, okay, I have that. Then I said, it has to have a focus of cost management and FinOps. Then I said, okay, I may not have that. I know it academically when I do consult, when I sell cloud services to my client, I do speak about cost, but it is not my sole focus. So and for my part, for last 1 year, I've been trying to do some little application. Like where I live, I try to interact with some entrepreneurs and who are running apps, mobile apps, and they are using AWS. So I offer them some consulting services for free. I said, okay, I can look at your invoice and see where you can save some money. And I have helped one of my startup founder friends to save about his spend was about $200. I brought it down to $100. So on AWS.
50%.
Yes. But that is just academic stuff. I knew, okay, maybe I don't need some, I can switch from GP2 to GP3. I don't need some orphan elastic IP instances. And that person was running the application and the users were in India, but the EC2 was in Virginia, in US. So you don't need that. The price differential is huge. So those were like very low hanging fruit, so to speak. So I
Right.
think this will be my way to try to, learn it by doing, learning by doing. it may be just simple cost optimization. FinOps is much bigger than that. So that's how I have tried to do it, but I don't think that is good enough to crack a job.
Yeah.
It depends, but yes, yes, you need more than that.
Because the job description
But
said you should be doing multi-million-dollar cost savings. The organizations who have EDPs with AWS or long-time enterprise agreement with Microsoft, so they're targeting those high spending customers who are very mature in their cloud practices. So uh, if you have a chance to any work with any of those clients, that would be great. But how to get a breakthrough? I don't know.
Just want to say something. Also, if you purchase reserved instances or saving plans, most probably there also be accounted towards savings. So let's say you have a $100,000 goal and you purchase $15,000 or $20,000 worth of reserved instances or savings plans. They are also targeted, or they are also accounted towards savings, because you found an opportunity like, hey, we're using R7Gs in AWS, and we said, okay, I'll just go purchase a reserved instance for it. Or if you're using specific compute spend in EC2 instances, you can also do it. Those also, I think, are also accounted towards savings. If you have because I'm doing the FinOps analyst role now. I've been doing it for 6 months. I don't have a lot of experience, but I'm working in the role. So if you have an architect background, I think it's going to be easier to integrate or to learn how to implement FinOps frameworks and techniques. You need to familiarize yourself with Cost Explorer in AWS.
Right.
Understand how reserved instances work, because everything is built per minute, or some other stuff per second. You have a lot of variables and parameters that you can choose in Cost Explorer. Let's say we're talking about AWS, which accounts are spending the most, what usage type do you have, unusual APIs for usage for S3. You can isolate a specific service and do a drill down on it. For example, teams might purchase a different reserved instance from what they are using. This also counts towards savings or avoidance, but savings most probably. Because once you start working with the Cost Explorer, you see you have tons of different variables that you can bring together. So this might be a challenge at first to understand how the billing actually works, because it's very complicated. But by experience, but once you do it many times, you would get familiar with it and how they function together and how they come together all. So I just wanted to add this point.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
And for focus, I think you can export, because from data exports you can export focus data sets in CSV file and by Parquet. If you export it by CSV file, you'll have it on an S3 bucket. You can download the file. It's going to be an enormous file. I don't know, it depends on what services you are using. Let's say you have your own AWS account. You can try playing a bit with the data, see what does it mean, because there are 45 columns, and there are plenty of SQL queries you can play with, see how the data interacts, and focus is good. I started also looking at it. We had a few discussions in the previous weeks. So just wanted to add this.
Yeah, and what are it seems like this cost management or analysis, it seems like a big data problem, isn't it? If the data file, the CSV file is huge. So what are the analytical tools you use to is it Power BI or any other things?
Well, we're still in our early FinOps practices. I'm the first employee for doing FinOps, so I'm establishing everything from the ground up. Yeah, there's tons of data, especially if you want to know why. Like, for example, you see many $300 or $400 increase, but if your cloud bill is huge, you won't notice this difference. But you have to know what you're looking at. Like, I have some cloud experience based on my own projects I've done. There's tons of data, but you can find some ways to play with it. Like, I developed some Python scripts for Azure, because in Azure, like, it's a bit more different than AWS once you download the file. If you want to download the file, we don't have any tools yet, or homegrown tools that we use. So I'm doing everything what I see is that can add value. You'd have lots of data, but start from the basics. I'm not sure how a mature FinOps cycle is yet, because I don't have experience with that. We're trying to establish everything from the ground up. You will have to do, let's say, monthly reports, or bi-weekly, or weekly, or quarterly. It depends on what the company wants. I'll read the job description and I will let you know, but it looks like you need to, like, the 8 years in cloud infrastructure. So they want somebody who understands the architecture. Maybe you need to change some kind of architecture. I don't know. And AWS, there's always like Victor shared it like a few weeks ago. I didn't notice it, but something regarding containers, because if you move from x86 to Graviton, it's going to save you up to 40%, something like this. I don't know. I read it, but this is like a change of architecture, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, like, first you can target the low-hanging fruit, which is the most simple thing. And as we were discussing previously, once you once you harvested all the low-hanging fruit, you need to bring the teams together. And here where you come in, if you understand the architecture, you have soft skills, you speak with teams, sometimes people do not turn off their VMs if it's a dev environment, or just understanding what they are building, how they are building it. Also, you can work a lot in containers. I'm not sure you can use kubectl or any other. I'm not sure what other tools are available. One more thing, but I forgot what I was about to say. Yeah, so that's basically in a nutshell everything. Not everything, but
Yeah. So
starting here.
what I have tried to do, so the entrepreneur friend, for which I did some cost optimization, he is not very techy. He just wants to run his business. So I have asked him to share the console username password so that I can get access to that billing and cost management, and I play around. I see what kind of data is there, and how the cost and usage is going up and down in month on month. His production instance is where I just I do not have write access to any environment. I just get billing access and I get the invoice data. That is my playground to learn until I actually get mature with that. And another interesting thing, I'm working on one cloud migration opportunity, where there is a UK based company. They have acquired. They're in AWS. They have acquired a Spain based company. They're on Azure. Now they need to be integrated. Their cloud environment needs to be integrated. And when we asked the Spanish company to share their cloud spend and all, they shared me dump of their Azure estate, and it was all in Spanish. And when I used Google Translate, I don't think it did a fairly good job of uh, giving a like for like Azure Spanish to English translation, but somehow it misinterpreted. How do I handle that kind of case so that I don't miss out on any particular component? Is there any reliable translation service that I can use? Damien or Victor, anyone?
I mean, if not Google Translate, either you can leverage the AI, like ChatGPT, all this stuff translate really well. To be honest, and then DeepL. But on that case is unfortunate. So it's more like it's not good practice to write in your own language in general.
Yeah.
To be honest, but rather Yeah. For translation, what we tend to use is now more ChatGPT or OpenAI / Claude / whatever AI tool. Or if not, then DeepL, or if not, Google Translate, depending on the requirements.
And how do you handle this multiple languages in a cloud environment? Do you ensure that everything is in common language?
I would, yeah.
Has to be English?
I think it's bad. Like if you, I even for like I've worked on Spanish environments. Yet we developed in English, like names, all this stuff was in English except for documentation. Documentation was in Spanish. Um, so if documentation is in Spanish and that happens, then yeah, you'll have to translate it and see how it goes. But now
Okay.
that shouldn't be a problem. For the code, it should be in Spanish. If it's not in Spanish, like it should be in English. If it's not in English, then that's problematic. Yeah.
So now before I consult my client about, cloud to cloud, like Azure to AWS movement, I need to understand what is in Azure. That is the thing. So, and it's a like huge dump of resource. They just ran a, graph query, Azure resource graph query in Azure portal, and it gives everything, the
Yeah.
context and everything, the resource names, endpoints, everything. And sometimes translate is not, it transliterates, it doesn't translate, so that creates a problem.
Yeah, it's that would be difficult. Yeah, there is no shortcut for that one.
Yeah, right.
I have a question. It's like excuse me if it's a dumb question, but
There are no dumb questions.
yeah. So, for example, in AWS, there are like low-hanging fruits such as GP2 to GP3.
Yeah,
Eating unattached volumes. Is there anything similar in Azure?
In
I mean
terms
for
of
Yeah, the same.
yeah, unattached is the same thing. Like it's the
It's
same
orphan. It's
orphan
called orphan.
volumes.
Yeah, orphan volumes. You have
So GP2 to GP3, basically what it means is like you have there is an update on some engine or some version or some kind of system engine that runs something, like in this case disks, but it happens with instances, it happens with a lot of family. Like when the family increases a version, you tend to upgrade because before it was T2 or something and then it was T4 or whatever.
Mm.
I think then you upgrade the versioning and that's it. So whenever something upgrades, that's what should be done, like upgrading the
Yeah, you
versions.
need to check first, but yes, not all the time
Yeah.
the price is, but yes, yes, this is
Normally,
correct.
if
Yeah,
there is a new upgrade, normally the price is the same, or
or
either the
the
price
same.
is the
Yeah,
same,
yeah.
same price, better performance, or less price for the same
Mhm.
performance. Normally, is the first case, but that's what it tends to happen.
But in Azure, you have like the orphan volumes, and you
Mhm.
have the storage version 1 and version 2, if I recall correctly. There is also the problem in which you go to premium that you don't need to, right? To involve you. So it's also you need to check if you really need, yeah, right?
Yeah.
What
And
else?
Okay.
yeah, one point you were mentioning is some right. So let's say there is a suggestion from AWS that using a Graviton-based compute instance rather than x86. But if your application architecture does not allow
Yeah,
ARM architecture, then
Yeah,
it cannot happen. Uh, so I discovered it a couple of months back. I was working with an e-commerce company, and they're on a legacy stack. You have heard about that cPanel, Plesk. Those
yeah,
are those solutions. They're running on VMs, and they wanted to replicate that environment in AWS. And the AWS person was involved. He said, okay, why are we giving Intel or AMD based processors? Just go for Graviton instances. But when I go to AWS Marketplace, I search for those AMIs. or Plesk and all, it says there are a certain number of EC2 families you can go with, and it does not support Graviton.
Yeah, that one is it is what it is. There are architecture that doesn't work on ARM, and that's the thing. Like you cannot migrate. It's recommended to migrate once that the migration is easy to that architecture and is supported. But if you have to do like the effort of migrating is higher than the migration, it's like the cost that you're going to get, then you shouldn't do it. Like migrations are trade-offs always.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, in that question, yeah, this is something that tends to be frequent of what the conversation is when talking about FinOps. It's like, yeah, they on the Graviton side, it's like, yeah, you have to be careful about migrating or planning the migration beforehand.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, yeah, I do have this. Okay. Yeah, next time I will try to see if next time I can stream it because I had to configure something on Zoom to make it work. But probably next time we can stream it on an event and see if even more people join now. Everything should be connected with like LinkedIn and everything. But yeah. And yeah, in the next few weeks, we are going to be releasing more stuff. So stay tuned as well. Like new content and new things are going to be released. So it's going to be a fun 2025. I don't know if yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Is there anything we can do or I can do to assist what you're doing in general? Do you think we can add value somewhere?
Yeah. Damian, do you have any comments?
Yeah, first of all, by attending these calls, you are already participating, but also in the Telegram, right? You can either bring more people or raise questions there. You know, traffic, it's always an active community is always good. You can, I'm not sure what you do from content perspective, but if you write articles and stuff like that, we can help you, of course, through our channels, promote it. That also works. Bring ideas. If you want to be, I'm not sure that yet we are in the amount of users that require more admins, but if you want to be admins in the future, there's also an option. And I don't know, bring ideas as well. It's also, where are you located, Isam? Remind me?
In Brno, Czech Republic.
The Czech Republic.
Yeah, in case like you find, I'm sure the community will be growing, but in case you feel like I can help in something or whatever, I'd be happy to do it, But of course, like I'm in the Telegram, I'm also working like on helping the community grow. So let's see how things work.
That's perfect. We may do something in the Czech Republic. I don't know, maybe in an event or something.
That would be cool.
Are there more practitioners? Like, do you know a lot of practitioners, either FinOps or cloud people in Czech Republic?
Cloud people, I know a few, but FinOps, no. I haven't, like, only you guys. I know only you guys in FinOps, like the community that you're working with. Like, I try on LinkedIn to connect with people, but in general, like, I don't know anybody doing FinOps.
Well, we'll see. Because we can make something on maybe on cloud topics and then, bring FinOps as a side topic within the FinOps thing. Sorry, within the cloud thing. Sorry, I forgot to speak today. But yeah.
FinOps, it's interesting to anyone, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And
don't
if
have
you
to-
always if you always say it as cloud cost instead of FinOps, it normally lands better. And then it's easy to understand. So
Yeah, I read the commentary on LinkedIn, let's say, about cost is not a proxy for sustainability. Then there are some green ops and sustainability advisors who always ask tough questions to AWS and Azure and Google, that what
yeah.
we're doing to reduce carbon emissions and stuff. So what is your view on that, Damien and Victor? Like, I mean, FinOps and GreenOps, how different or how similar are they?
So they are similar. Like the only thing is that FinOps is way easier to sell because you are directly impacting margins,
Correct.
and companies understand margins pretty easily. Like it's easy to understand that if you can improve your business results, everyone likes it and everyone cares about that. And like people with billions care about that. With sustainability is like, yeah, some people care, some people don't. So they care if they impact the business. They are not much careful about the environment and trying to be honest, right? Like companies care if it gets returned. So they are similar because after all, it's all about improving performance and being more efficient and related to some metrics, whether it is cost as a monetary, let's say, unit, or sustainability as of contamination or pollution units, let's say. So the amount that you are spending and being more efficient, and that's it. Of course, it has certain difference. The only thing is like greenhouse. It depends with the new regulation in Europe regarding that topic, and all that stuff. Maybe it's easier to sell because it has an impact on the economic side, because you will get a fine or you will get more economic benefits or less economic benefits. But FinOps is way easier to sell because you just you have better results on your company. So that's it. It's straightforward.
The only thing that I would add is that if you do a good practice of FinOps, then you are already improving, right? You are reducing. Let's for example, let me give you an example. For example, if you do a shutdown of the computers that are not being used, so you're already contributing to the green, right? To the green ops.
Yep.
I will find difficult to see grow more than FinOps. I see that it will be part of what the FinOps practitioner will be doing. I don't think there is sufficient but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Because eventually, if you have a good practice of FinOps, then you're already doing most of it. Like, for example, shutting down systems that are not used, or shutting down dev environments after working hours. You're already reducing electricity. But who knows? And from the other side, I don't see anyone saying, "Listen, I will lose $1 million here and not use, and not because due to I don't know, to be more green." I mean, eventually your app or whatever has its requirements, and you as a company need to do the best. So I'm not sure there where the industry will go, but.
Yeah, that is something I also experienced. So last year we migrated one UK-based company, with e-commerce company, from on-prem private cloud to Azure, and then after 5-6 months, he said, "Okay, just guys have a look at my spend, suggest me some reserved instances or compute saving plans, something like that." So another analyst in my team, he did that analysis, and after that analysis was presented to the customers, he is like a CTO person in charge of the infrastructure, and we found out that the application architecture is such that the utilization will be low. You cannot just say, okay, this is utilization is low, just shut it down. You don't need auto scaling and so many things. Sometimes it is by design. So there is some business logic, some rationale behind it. So
Yeah, but normally, so what tends to happen is that with that, is that there are architecture that are better for those type of workloads. Like you can set up a VM that is working on 5%, domain like resource usage, and it's fine. But you are probably better with an alternative design, like serverless or more. So things that are serverless or things that are, scheduled to be deployed at some level or are redesigning the instance. So there are really, really small instances that you can run. It's difficult to have something that has a small, CPU consumption in terms of percentage that you cannot redesign or re-architect to a lower VM because the VMs are really small. So there are ways to improve it. Like there can be workloads that are small, and that's totally fine. The thing is, like, probably there is a better way to architect those, as far as I have seen. That's my take on that one.
yeah. So in terms of like doing this kind of cost analysis and cost optimization, especially when it comes to cloud and FinOps, I think that we really need to understand the nuts and bolts. Someone who
So
does not
like
understand, you just like that says, okay, shut down this server or database without
no.
it
You need
is a bad idea, really.
no. You need to understand like the whole thing. Like you need to understand if you are doing something that makes sense, if it's going to impact your business unit, if it's going to be, something that will disrupt something, what's going on, what's the purpose of each workload. There is a lot of factors that you need to do, and that's more engineering than anything else. Like
Yes.
for doing an availability thing is the same. Like you need to know if can be shut down and cost less because it can be shut down or can be using spot instances or whatever.
Right.
Or should be a permanent workload that should spend more and be more available. It really depends. Like it's always about trade-offs. So yep.
Yeah. So someone who, I mean, if you do not understand the architecture or the engineering behind it, it is difficult to just go financially, just look at the dollars and try to save the dollars. It will not help. Yes. So it is very much interrelated. So that's what excites me, right? I'm doing cloud solution architecture, helping cloud clients to go from on-prem to cloud or cloud to cloud. So this going to FinOps feels like a logical career progression for me. So that's why I'm trying to learn more. And then thanks for setting up this platform, Victor and Damien.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad that is helpful.
And once
That's a
we get,
whole.
sorry,
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
and once you get into FinOps, you'll have like direct impact on cost if you like do it correctly, and you'll have more exposure.
Mhm.
So I think that's also an added, like it's a plus
Yeah.
for as a career in general.
If you refer to the reInvent keynote from Werner Fogels, who is the AWS, right? So last 2 years, 2023 and 2024, he has been really talking about cost. He has this own website, wellarchitected.com. Um, so 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 that he always focuses on cost, and he knows that there is a pressure because of the tech recession and companies trying to save money. There is very much pressure on FinOps in the last couple of years, and his keynotes are really good. If you find a chance, it's on YouTube. You can find really nice.
Yep. Okay, I think it's 40. So I think we can wrap up if you want. I will see if next time, as I mentioned, I can create the event on LinkedIn and I can stream it so people can join there as well. And see if that fits everyone. And yeah, it was great to talk with you guys again. And yeah, great to start the 2025 together.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice weekend ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.